The Adding Machine is a 1969 British film that had a budget of $500,000, which today amounts to $3,584,925.75, according to a calculator developed by Morgan Friedman. If that name sounds familiar, it is probably because you're thinking of the actor Morgan Freeman or the economist Milton Friedman. And speaking of confusion, the film The Adding Machine is not to be confused with the 1985 book The Adding Machine, collected essays written by Beat Generation writer William S. Burroughs. And to throw in more confusion, William S. Burroughs is the grandson of William Seward Burroughs, who invented the adding machine in 1888. The 1969 movie that I want to examine was based on a 1923 play by Elmer Rice, not to be confused with Elmer Fudd, Minute Rice, or Edgar Rice Burroughs. Adding Machine is not an easy movie to find and view, but people may be familiar with the play since it has been adopted many times by high schools and colleges around the country. It is an obscure movie based on a sort of familiar play. There's even a musical version. The movie had an impact on me since I saw it when I was a teenager, and I'm reviewing it now. In researching reviews and where to find this hidden gem, I went to two websites, the IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. The latter, which touts itself as the home of the tomatometer, or tomatometer, the most trusted measurement of quality for movies and TV. Insert smile emoji here. On the Tomato site, the Adding Machine has less than 50 ratings and only one review, which is a killer example of how not to adapt a play into a movie. They say never get into a fight with somebody who buys ink by the barrel, but with terse, or is it pithy one-liners like this, that I wonder if this critic is being paid for total reviews or quantity versus quality. In reviewing the critic himself, I noticed the pattern of referring to the source material as the better product, and that usually is the case, but one wonders if the critic actually read the play or if he saw a performance of it, which is also an adaptation. We will dive into the actual play a little later. Mr. Zero is the faceless accountant for a large, faceless company. Nearing retirement, after 25 faithful years on the job, he discovers that he will be replaced by new technology, an adding machine. An angry Mr. Zero kills his boss and is tried for murder and hung. He wakes up in a place called the Elysian Fields. Shortly after, Mr. Zero is joined by a co-worker, Daisy DeVore, who unbeknownst to him had a deep crush on him and committed suicide after his execution. Are they in heaven or hell? Mr. Zero is played by Miles O'Shea, an Irish actor of stage and screen. Not a superstar, but he can often be found in crossword puzzles. He does have some acting chops, however. O'Shea co-starred with Eli Wallach in the Broadway play Staircase, which was one of the first depictions of homosexual men in a serious light. For his role, he was nominated for the Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play in 1968. His last screen appearance was playing an ailing Supreme Court Justice on The West Wing in 2004. Mrs. Zero is played by Phyllis Diller. She's a harpy, a shrew. Fill in your own cliche for an unpleasant, ill-tempered person characterized by scolding and nagging. Phyllis Diller was best known as a stand-up comedian with wacky hair, wacky clothes, a ski-slope nose, and self-deprecating humor. However, she also was an actress, author, musician, and artist. Phyllis Diller made her film debut as famed 1920s nightclub hostess Texas Guinan in the 1961 film Splendor in the Grass. Here she is, still doing stand-up at age 89 on The Tonight Show in 2007. Daisy DeVore is played by Billie Whitelaw. Daisy is one of the few people not named with a number. She has a serious crush on Mr. Zero, but they always seem to be talking in two completely different conversations. Mr. Zero would never cheat on his wife, even had he known about her infatuation. He is as faithful to his wife as to his tedious job. He doesn't stray from his precious numbers, and besides, he's afraid of his wife finding out and the physical harm that would follow. Critics of the film have said that Billie Whitelaw was too attractive for the part, and that Mr. Zero would have had a hard time working on figures with her figure close by. Billy Whitelaw was an English actress who was a muse for Irish playwright Samuel Beckett for over 25 years. Billy had a delicious role in another film I'd like to examine someday, Start the Revolution Without Me. Billy also played the demonic nanny in the 1976 horror film, The Omen. After their deaths, are Zero and Daisy in heaven, hell, or an amusement park? One person's heaven is another person's hell. One person's gem is another person's rotten tomato. Is heaven a place where you can do what you want to and be happy for eternity? Daisy DeVore knows what she wants, but it's all too much for Mr. Zero. The sudden freedom and being told 2 plus 2 can equal 5 if one wishes it so is the last straw. He wants his numbers back. There is safety in numbers. At this point, he is deemed to go back to the earth, a trip he has made countless times before, and the gatekeeper has a few choice words for him before he is sent back. You're a failure, Zero. A failure. A waste product. A slave to a contraption of steel and iron. The animal's instincts, but not his strength and skill. The animal's appetites, but not his unashamed indulgence of them. Well, time's up. Back you go. Back to your sunless groove, the raw material of slums and wars. This is all depressing for Mr. Zero, but he's told that he won't remember a thing, and he will be guided back to the earth by a woman named Hope. The Adding Machine is a thought-provoking story. It examines the meaning of life, retirement, capitalism, reincarnation, and humans being replaced by technology. Whether you can get your eyes on the rare 1969 film or the musical play, it is worth checking out. And if you get your hands on the actual 1923 play, well, I told you I was going to get back to that. I'm sorry, but the cancel culture would not like this play. In Act 5, Mr. Zero goes on a racist rant for practically a half a page of dialogue, and I don't understand the context or the value to the story, other than perhaps the author Elmer Rice, as in white rice, is trying to illustrate racism and how people can feel better and elevate themselves by putting another group of people down. And as for Mr. Critic, who pointed out to the source material, what the F? I'm thankful the screen version omitted this. I don't think Elmer Rice was a racist, but I do think that sometimes illustrating racism to make a point can reinforce this belief in ignorant and fearful people. So there you have it, my exploration of the adding machine. It all adds up.